All right, in this video, I'm revealing the full pricing strategy on how to price your products for Shopify dropshipping. That way you can make the most money possible with each individual product. Over the last few years, I've mentored so many people, and this is probably the biggest mistake not only beginners make, but even people who've been in this space for a while. The pricing of your product is very, very, very important. It's something so many people overlook and so many people miss. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on people's stores and they literally have a winning product. They've got a solid store, a solid brand, but because their pricing's off, they essentially miss that they have a winning product. They're spending all this money on ads and just not getting sales, and it comes down to the price of the product. The price of your product is very, very, very important, and most people aren't following any strategy at all. So today, in this video, you need to go ahead and watch this whole video because there's 3 parts of this, and each one of those is very, very, very important. First, we're going to talk about the main mistake people make with pricing their products. Then we're going to jump in the computer. I'm going to show you the full algorithm on how I price my products, the full strategy. And then third, I'm going to show you how you can find the max price so you can make the most profits with each individual product. So we're going to jump in the computer in just a second and get straight into it. All right, so first, before I go over the full algorithm on how to actually price your products, we first need to talk about the big mistake a lot of people make. So most people that get into drop shipping, essentially they just will go ahead and throw up a price, or they'll use the suggested price from an app like Oberlo, or they'll even do research, at bare minimum, do research off of something like Amazon or Etsy, or see where the product is selling in other marketplaces and go off that. Now, that's definitely better than most. You wouldn't believe how many times I go on people's stores and they've just thrown up random prices, but that's still not good enough. If you have the price off, even just too expensive by $1, $2 for what the market deems valuable, and it doesn't just have to be the full market, it could be even what a Facebook audience, if you're running Facebook ads, or Instagram audience, or Google ads audience, if you run it just $1, $2 too expensive, then you literally could miss that you have a winning product. You'll be running ads to it, and you'll be getting a lot less add to carts, to where essentially you could be negative. You could be losing money on your ads rather than making money. And if you go ahead and you drop the price just a little bit, it could be enough to essentially have it explode. I've seen it happen with so many people's stores that I go on their store, see that the prices are way off, help them fix it, and literally almost overnight, they have a huge boom in sales, and then they're profitable from then on. So you need to go ahead and make sure you follow a very, very proper pricing strategy, pricing algorithm, and it'll help you. Now, when we get into this, I'm going to show you exactly how I use this algorithm, how I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. I've been using the same exact algorithm I'm going to show you today, how to do it. In the very beginning, these prices might actually seem pretty low. You might actually be only just above break even, to where your margins would be pretty small. You got to keep in mind that this is what you do to test, to make sure you've got those decent and golden winning products. And then once you find out that the products will actually sell, that's then when you go ahead and you find the max price. Now, the max price tends to be a good bit higher. Sometimes it's only $1 higher than what we actually put out in the algorithm, the pricing strategy, but many times it can be a lot more. But if you're just going ahead and you're guessing and you're putting out some random price, you might even miss in the very beginning that you even have a decent or winning product from the start. So if you use this strategy, you can go ahead, make sure you've got it, have a very, very clean look, and then you can go ahead and find the max price from there. So let's go ahead and jump in the computer. Let's go through this full algorithm. All right, so there's a couple different factors that go into the pricing strategy. The main one, obviously, is the full algorithm that you'll follow. Essentially, what the price is on AliExpress, this is what you should go ahead and start with your price on your store. In a second, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to find the max price. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and make a big point. This is a mistake I see on people's stores literally on a weekly basis. I see multiple people doing this, and this will hurt you. This will hurt you at least in the number of sales. Yeah, you can still be profitable if you make this mistake, and there are people that are profitable doing that, and there's people that do this in droves in drop shipping. But if you clean this up and you actually organize this, you will make more sales. One, just because of the psychology of it, but then two, because of the branding. And that's essentially the ending of your price. So many people out there essentially will have just random prices on their store. It could be, $9.67, $14.33, just all these random endings. And so right off the bat with your branding, it's not going to look as clean. It's not going to look as organized. And if you've gone ahead and you've done the right things and you've branded your store right, and really made a professional looking store, really clean. You've got the clean logo, the clean name, all of that, but then you have random endings to your prices, it's instantly going to throw off. So this is where, me personally, I suggest either ending all your prices in 99 or 95. Now you might not want to do that. You might want to essentially have, whole numbers, and then you use 99, 95 for, maybe your more high selling products to give that more effect of, it's on sale. And that's where the psychology of this comes in. But having clean endings to your prices does make a big difference right off the bat with the organization. But this is where, me personally, I always end almost all my products in 99 or 95. And that's where I would suggest to you to do that as well. So with the pricing strategy, I'm going to lay this out to where what the price is on AliExpress for that product is what you should start the product on your store. Now, this is not some, hard and stone rule that you have to follow every single time for every single product. There's a couple times when I won't follow this, but I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, this is what I follow to start my prices on my store. Now, the time that you'd want to deviate from this is, if it will hurt, the overall perception for the product. A good example of this is, let's say you've got a watch store. You might be wanting to use this pricing strategy if you're going for more of, a budget strategy. You might want to have a store that you're really trying to be the go-to store for budget watches. But many times you won't want to do that. Many times you'll want to have, more exclusive prices. You've got more higher end type products. You wouldn't want to do that. So even if, a watch might be $4 on AliExpress, you might want to go ahead and really bump up the price to essentially have it deemed as more valuable from the customer's point of view. Now, that's only in a couple circumstances, and I'd caution you away from having that mindset a lot. That's what most people have the mindset of. Most people are like, if they price it too cheap, customers are going to deem the product as cheap. That's not always the case. And you got to keep in mind, the power of dropshipping is that we can sell around the whole world. And around the whole world, especially when you get outside the big five, customers aren't wanting to spend a lot of money. They want those budget products. They might not want the super high-end stuff. So keep that in mind. So, getting into this. So with the product on AliExpress, if the product is priced from 1 cent to $2, this is where you should go ahead and price it on your store between $7.95, $7.99. So depending on what ending you're wanting to do, that's where I would go ahead and start it. Sometimes with this, I'll bump this up a little bit. It might be $8.95, $9.95. But typically, if it's between 1 cent and $2, I start it at $7.95. Now, keep in mind, that might sound low right off the bat. Might sound like you're going to have to do a crap ton of sales to, really make money. That's where I'm going to show you how to find the max price. If you don't do this in the beginning and you price it too high, you could completely miss winning products. And I've seen it time and time again. Beginners all the time are missing that they've got winning products on their store because they're getting too eager in pricing it too high. You can find the max price, and we'll do that in just a second. It doesn't take long at all, but you need to go ahead and start typically with the right pricing strategy. So between 1 cent and $2, $7.95 or $7.99, depending on the ending you like. If it's between $2 and 1 cent to $4.99, that's where $9.95, $9.99. Keep in mind, you're going to be able to raise this price. The next one is between $5 and $30. This is where it starts ramping up. This is where you'll essentially double the price. So, if the price on AliExpress is $10, you could go ahead and have it at $19.95 or $20.95. But essentially, you'll use a factor of times 2. And then the last one is, if it's greater than $30, you could go ahead and use a factor of 1.5 to 1.75. Essentially, just multiply the price on AliExpress by 1.75. Now, this pricing strategy right here, this is what I've been using on 80 to 90% of the time for almost the last 3 years now. This is something that me and a couple of mentors of mine, when I was starting way back in the day, we came up with this algorithm, and this algorithm still works. And this is still what I use. This is a very, very powerful algorithm, and it's almost foolproof. Like I said, it doesn't work for every single product, every single store. If you've got a store that's branded as, very, very high-end store for high-end products, all that, you're going to need to go ahead and do a different strategy. And I would caution you on just guessing what you deem it valued as, because it typically doesn't work that way. This works most of the time. Then to find the max price. So this This is going to get you to where then you can test the products. You can go ahead and if you have this and you've got a winning product on your store, you're going to know it. You're going to get the sales coming in with these prices. But this is where you could be just above break even. When you're running ads and everything, and you've got a winning product, you might just be just above break even with these prices because your margins are going to be smaller. But this is where you want to go ahead and find the max price. So to find the max price, essentially, once you start making sales, even if it's just a decent product, but if you've got a winning product, you're going to have sales coming in. So after 2 to 3 days, you're going to know essentially the potential of the product. Now, if you haven't seen my Facebook ads strategy videos, you need to check that out. I talk about when you know you've got a decent or winning product, but really after 2 to 3 days, you'll know. And you're gonna have at least some level of consistency in those sales. So what you wanna do is the next day, go ahead and raise the price of the product by $1. Essentially, during this time, you might be scaling up the ads a bit, but this is where I would caution you on how much you're actually changing with your Facebook ads if you are using Facebook ads. Really right now, what you're wanting to do is go ahead and find the max price. And then you can go ahead and really start, putting all your efforts into scaling. So if you've got the price, say at, $17.95, now go ahead and raise it to $18.95. Most likely, you're not going to have a drop off in sales. Next day, raise it to $19.95. Most likely, you're not going to have a drop off in sales. Essentially, you're going to keep doing that, keep raising up the price and only step it up in small increments because you're looking for a drop off. What's going to happen is you're going to have the sales go and you're going to find to where it essentially peaks, and then all of a sudden you're going to raise it by $1 more and you're going to have a pretty drastic decrease in sales. Now, as you're doing this, you might see a little bit of a decrease in the number of sales as long as your profits are going up. Your profit margins are increasing because you're raising the price at the same time. As long as your profit margins are increasing, you're good to go. It's once you go ahead and you raise it by that next amount, whether it's $1, $2, however much you're raising it by, because if it's a higher price product, let's say, if you got a product that's $40, you might not want to increment it by $1. It might be, a few dollars at a time. But once you go ahead and do that, you're going to see a drastic drop off. Pull it back to the last amount. That's your max price. This is how you can go ahead and have the healthiest margins for each individual product. I've seen this to where, even people that are making good sales, they could go ahead and find, an even better max price if they do this the right way. This is where you're going to have to know your sales. You're going to have to really, really make sure you're doing everything right with Facebook ads and all of that and keeping things consistent. That way you can really track when it drops off. But this is the most efficient way to do it. So with the pricing strategy, make sure you've got the clean endings. Make sure you're following the strategy at the right time, which is most of the time, but there are times when you don't want to do it. Follow this strategy to make sure you can go ahead and test the products in the most efficient way while not missing that you have a decent or winning product. And then from there, go ahead and find your max price once you actually start getting sales. If you do this and you've got everything else in place, like you've got the clean store, the branding, all of that, you've done the product research, you will be making sales. Like I said, if I had to pin down, the biggest mistake beginners make, this would at bare minimum be in the top 3 biggest mistakes I see, if not the top mistake. Pricing is something that so many people in e-commerce have wrong. And if you do this, this can completely change the game for you. So definitely go ahead, check this out, start applying this to your store, to your brand. Keep in mind that I'm still offering free one-on-one coaching calls for all new members of the Dropship Fortune program. So if you want the full A to Z guide showing you not only how to start a successful e-commerce brand, but then scale it up, advanced Facebook ad strategies, all of that, plus get private ongoing mentorship through a private course email that's unlimited. You'll also get a free one-on-one coaching call with myself. I'll get on the phone or on Skype with you, and I can give you a full customized game plan for your brand, help you scale up ads, whatever you need. Keep that in mind. Check that out in the description box below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got value out of it. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave any comments or questions down below. I love going ahead and connecting with all of you. Be happy, be positive, be powerful. Have a great rest of your day.